show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We are counting down to tip off for Arizona Wildcats basketball. This is Wildcats Radio, 1290.
Grievous, right side for Bradley, got recognized, two to shoot, fires it up from there and scores it! Bradley with Alexis, it'll be a two-point shot for Bradley. 60-47 Arizona, 11-0 run.
They cut it to 4, and I just told our guys, we're going to win the game. Take a breath, stay steady. Let's see if we can put together a little bit of a run here. And, and how do you put together a run? Play by play. Play by play by play by play. Get a stop and score.
It is basketball night in Arizona, senior night here. The Arizona Wildcats, the number 2 team in the country, getting set to welcome in Iowa State, the Cyclones, for the second time in the Big 12, the final home game this season for your Wildcats inside of McHale Center at Alchemy Arena. Welcome to Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. I'm your host, David Kelly. I've got J.W. Madden beside me here today at the arena. Kelvin Efon will be along as well. It is the Wildcats and the Cyclones on another absolutely gorgeous day, and it's going to be a sold-out house here to thank our seniors and send them out to what we hope is going to be a run of about 10 more games. 10 more games is what we want to see from this U of A basketball team. One more game in the regular season after tonight at Colorado. 3 games to win the Big 12 Conference tournament in Kansas City, and then 6 games to bring back the second national championship in program history. But first, as Tommy likes to say, one game at a time. Let's begin to focus on Iowa State. Let's let you know what we've got in store for you over the course of the next 3 hours.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Doing things the right way.
All right, we will revisit the win over Kansas, a game in which the Wildcats had 2 extremely long runs to knock out the Jayhawks on their first Big 12 visit here to Tucson and first appearance here since the 2008 season. We'll get our first look at Iowa State. Your first look is brought to you by Window Depot. Our scouting report, we'll check in with the play-by-play man for the Iowa State Cyclones. His name is John Walters. Your scouting report presented by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Spotlight on a cat. Not a cat player, but how about a cat assistant coach? We will chat. Actually, Brian Jeffries had a chance to chat with Evan Manning, who is one of the assistants on this Wildcat staff. We'll hear from Evan on his job and how the coaches are getting these guys prepared night in and night out for battle in the Big 12. DK with TL, my questions sort of to the head coach. Well, actually, most of them are my questions this week. We did get quite a few in at that most recent press conference. So you'll hear my questions to the head coach of your Wildcats, brought to you by Hughes Federal Credit Union. Games in tap tonight. Obviously, Big Monday. Second time the Wildcats will appear on Big Monday. Limited schedule generally on Mondays, but we'll get you everything happening on your Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers scoreboard. Pest of the game. Who will be that Cyclone, I should say, that maybe blows in and ruins the night for the Wildcats? We'll identify the pest of the game as brought to you by Essential Pest Control. Can we beat the book tonight? U of A 7.5-point favorite in this contest over the Cyclones. Your over-under comes in at 149.5. Keys to the game are brought to you by Royal Automotive and your starting lineup as presented by Rocking K. All of that coming up for you over the course of the next 3 hours of our program. Tommy Lloyd, very happy for his guys to get a win over the Kansas Jayhawks here on Saturday, a win that clinched a share of the Big 12 Conference Championship.
Obviously, a great day in McHale. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this game for a long time. And, for us, we understand the magnitude of when these two programs play, what it means. And that's just a testament to the history and the legacy of both places. But, for us, it's one of 18 games, in a conference schedule. And it counts as much as, any of the other ones. So, we put ourselves in good position, and we wanted to take care of business today at home against Kansas. And, I thought our guys, obviously, we came out and we made a great run. Then they were able to make a little run back at us, and then we were able to make another run and then kind of finish it off. So it's a great day overall, and let's get this done so we can get outside and enjoy some weather.
Yeah, the weather just continues to be great here in southern Arizona. It was some big runs for sure. 16-0 in the first half for your Arizona Wildcats, 19-0 in the second half to put this game away. But again, like Tommy said, the Kansas Jayhawks made a run of their own. They cut their deficit down to just 2 points in that second half before the Wildcats put together that 19-0 run. Jaden Bradley knew Kansas was not going to go out without a fight.
Just make simple plays. I mean, they're a great team, so we knew they were going to go on a run at some point. Just keep our composure. We got great players. We're going to share the ball and make great plays. Mo hit some big shots. Braden hit some big shots, and we just trusted each other at the end of the stretch.
Your defense had a lot to do with that. Obviously, you hit a floater. Tico's a pretty nice floater. Then you had a big three. How is it when you kind of stop them and then you guys recharge?
We hang our hats on the defensive end. Got one of the top defenses in the country. Coach Murph and Coach Lloyd are always on us to get stops, and that makes it easier to play in transition. We got athletes, we got shooters, break out on the offensive end.
They got shooters all right. Braden Burries continues to impress coming back off his illness. 6 of 10 from the field, 6 of 6 from the line. 23 points, but more impressively, 12 rebounds. Tommy Lloyd on Braden bouncing back in the last 2 games from his illness.
Braden's obviously a really good player, and you guys see how comfortable and how confident he is out there. I mean, to have that stat line, in a game of this magnitude, and honestly have it kind of relatively easy. I mean, it tells you his impact on the game is significant, and he's a really good player playing with really good confidence.
Mark of a guard being able to get open for those defensive rebounds.
I mean, just having a nose for the ball, and obviously Braden's got good physical tools with length and athleticism, and just the shot goes up sometimes of a guard. It's just like, I don't know how many of you guys. I don't see a lot of baseball players out here, but it's like reading a pop fly. You judge it off the bat, and you have people that are really good at it, and you have people that can't do it at all, and so sometimes just by the flight of the ball, as it's leaving a shooter's hands, you can kind of figure out where the ball is going to bounce, and if guards have that instinct, man, you can really beat a lot of people to a lot of balls.
Yeah, see, I wasn't in the room. That's why I didn't see any baseball players in there after the game on Saturday. Braden Burries on the Kansas Jayhawks run in the second half and how the Wildcats held them at bay.
I just think just locking in on the defensive end. I feel like we're letting them get open threes and wide open layups. So just us being locked in on defensive end just makes it easier for our offense. And then we just went on from there. And the Coach Lloyd, just told us to settle down, trust one another, and that's what we did.
Guys, we've seen some runs, and Kelvin, I'll start with you. But to be able to get 2 runs like the Wildcats did, 16 straight and 19 straight against a team like Kansas, I mean, you don't see that very often in these high-profile games like what the Wildcats have been dealing with here in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you normally don't see that at all. Kansas usually a pretty good defensive team. Have one of the best, and Badunga have one of the best post guys, defenders, but he didn't score. He didn't get the ball a lot. So I always say make sure you give those bigs the ball so they're happy and so they're still playing with the same intensity. But I just think the Wildcats, man, came in with such great defense and was just making things tough for them. You heard Barry said it right there. They was connected on those guys. Whenever they caught the ball, didn't give them any easy offense, made them work real hard for everything that Peterson got. And so, yeah, that defense ignites your offense, and that's how you're able to go on runs like that. You have to get stopped.
Yeah, I mean, to me, you look at Kansas, you look at Houston, not too dissimilar, Kelvin, from each other, in that Kansas doesn't necessarily have a big post-up game, especially against this Arizona front line. So when they went through those droughts, the 16-0 run, 19-0 run, if you're missing jump shots, just as we saw with the Houston Cougars, the Jayhawks were a big jump shooting team. They got a little bit more